All right, what's going on, guys? This is the Experience of Optimist, and I'm here with a very distinguished guest. You guys know him, the man with one eye. He makes some excellent videos. I especially like some of his newest videos. He was talking about sex, and he was talking about, you know, being addicted to women, basically. So we're gonna actually talk about that today. But how's it going, the man with one eye?
It's going good, man. I just worked pretty hard today. I made a good bit of money. I can't. My life's pretty peaceful. I don't have nobody telling me what I can do when I can't do it, where to do it, or whatever. I'm pretty peaceful. I don't have too much stress in my life right now. It's because I don't have no woman in my house, so I'm doing pretty good, man.
Well, yeah, let's start off with that, man. We were talking the other day about just sex addiction. I want you to elaborate on that. What your thoughts were about that in relation to MGTOW?
Well, I think pretty much me having a background of just basic addiction in my life. Like I said, I got clean from drugs almost 8 years ago. I was a person who I've used substances throughout my life to try to cope with the realities of life. I don't think drugs ever really changed my reality, but they help obscure my reality because I didn't want to deal with knowing so much, because throughout my whole life, bro, I've been a pretty sharp person. And I've always been the kind of person that basically seen life for what it is instead of what I would like it to be. And when I saw it for what it is, I really didn't like it. So bringing that from the substances into getting clean, I replaced the substances with women. And I use them to obscure my reality. But the thing about that is when you bring other people into your reality, they obscure your reality more than it was before. So I look at sex addiction as anytime that I'm using sex that's harming me or other people. You know what I'm saying? And I use it as a tool to not have to deal with the issues that were in my life, you know. But at the same time, I don't think I was as much addicted to sex as I was addicted to the validation of certain type of women that I would perceive as valuable, if you can understand what I'm saying. Because I've had sex with multiple women and didn't care and didn't even really feel anything while I was doing it. It's also probably an aspect of sex addiction because I was having sex with people that I didn't feel anything for, but also it was like a way, like a safety mechanism at the same time, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Okay, let's break that up into two parts. So you said you were trying to obscure some things about real life. What were those things that you were trying to obscure, or like maybe run away from, or not really, you know, address?
Well, if I had to look at the biggest thing that I've struggled with throughout my life is I always wanted to be great at something. And if that was when I was a young kid wanting to be like an NBA basketball player, or you know, make it to the NFL or any, I mean, as young guys, sports is usually the avenue of somebody that, of something a young man wants to do to become great. Because in the eyes of society and the world, if you're a professional athlete and you're going to have all these accolades, you're going to get everything you want. So that was my mindset. But due to the fact that I only grew to 5'9" and got maybe a 17-inch vertical, the NBA wasn't really looking promising for me, you know? So I understood that I wasn't going to be able to make it in that aspect. So then what I tried to do was I tried to do the next best thing in my mind was to be a drug dealer, because I thought that I could garner the respect of people and get the kind of money that I would like to get and get those things a different kind of way. Well, that didn't work either. So coming to the conclusion that I wasn't ever really going to be great at anything I wanted to be great at, and I was just good at a whole bunch of stuff. When you think you're destined for greatness, that's a hard thing to deal with, bro.
Okay, so I see what you're saying here. So, man,
disappointments and unrealistic expectations and dealing with the disappointments and not reaching them, basically.
So you were essentially still chasing that personal validation and respect from others.
Absolutely.
And then when you could get it, man, you're like, okay, I gotta hide this. I gotta mask this.
And the drugs were able to obscure my reality. It didn't change it, but it's easier to deal with. But on the back end, it caused more problems than it did solve. You understand what I'm saying? So I did that. And then fast forward to me getting my life together. The reason why I use women the way I did, I'm not even gonna say use them, because they were willing participants in everything that happened, bro. So I wasn't anybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go as far as saying I use people or whatever. I was having sex with multiple women and having sex with women and doing that and chasing that because I had to look at almost 30 years old, bro, what I had done to my life. And it was easier for me to get outside of myself and deal with these women because for that time, that moment in time, I didn't have to look at the reality of what I had done in my life. You know what I mean? What I had done to my life.
Okay, but
I would use them as an escape. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but where did this need for validation come from? What do you think?
That's something I'm still searching for. You know, I haven't found that answer yet. I mean, I'm 37 years old, but I'm still on the course of figuring that out. And it's still something I struggle with because my primal brain and you know the stuff that constantly running. Like I believe that your brain, that part of your brain that makes your heart beat and your autonomic system and all that. I think that's also the thing that pumps thoughts in your head that you can't control. You know, so even though I have all this red pill information, knowledge, and all this stuff, there's a primal part of me that still tells me if I just find that female that's beautiful enough, or you know, all the shit that we tell ourselves that everything's gonna be all right, but that's not a reality. You know what I'm saying? So finding something I'm still searching for, but I think as you get older in life and you really realize the reality of stuff, you realize that you're chasing something that's not even a reality. Because for the most part, nobody gives a fuck out there about nobody else or cares about what you look like or what you wear or nothing. Everybody's just focused on themselves, bro.
Yeah, that's true. See, this is a tough call because a lot of guys out there are struggling with the same thing that you're struggling with, that I'm struggling with. So now that you're older, what are some of the things you're trying to do to stop yourself from looking for that validation?
Well, just always realizing that it's never what you really think it is. And I think as men, we are possessors, we are conquerors, we want to own shit, bro. And that's why we struggle so hard if a woman decides to cheat on us or move on from us or leave us, because we look at them as like an ownership thing. But what helped me out in this is like, I understand the condition of the world that I live in today. I understand the times and I understand everything has an expiration date on it and I can't hold on to anything. So trying to get validation from someone who in the end is just going to disvalidate me anyway, it's not even worth attempting to do, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm trying to find validation in my life from different things now. You know, whether it be performing better at work, becoming a better businessman. And, you know, I think it comes about as you get older in your life, you stop play with you. You stop letting people get away with certain stuff. You're easier to move away from things that aren't good for you, that's not beneficial to your life. When as a young man, if something's still making you feel good, even if it ain't good for you, you're going to keep it around. But I think as we get older, we get wiser and realize like, yeah, even though this thing is giving me temporary euphoria, it's always causing me more trouble on the back end than it's worth, you know? Coming from a logical standpoint helps, man.
Well, let me ask you this. So when you're younger and you first started chasing that validation that later transitioned into female validation and sexual addiction, basically, when you were chasing that, when did it start? Did it start when you were like 9 years old, a teenager? When did it start?
Yeah, bro. I mean, ever since my nuts dropped, bro. I mean, like my I busted my first nut, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you would want to call it innocence loss or something like that, but the first drug I ever got high on was ejaculation, man. You know, and that's when, I mean, I think it has a lot of factors in it too. I mean, I think it's a lot to do with environmental, man, and the things that you put in your mind and that you watch and that you listen to and I came up in the era where, you know, my teenage years where I live at down south, it was all about like No Limit Records, Cash Money, all this kind of stuff. It was all about stunting and slinging dope and, you know, violence and having as many bitches as you could get and having the baddest bitches and all this stuff. So as an adolescent and as a teenager, you're going through all these hormonal changes and you're becoming the person who you're gonna become. Like that's your formative years. So if you listening to that kind of stuff, and that's what you constantly pumping in your brain. And every time you look on TV, you see these dudes with these kind of chicks. And then you see you know, what you got to do to get that and everything like that. And that's where I think that validation comes from. It's all external. It's from you seeing society or whatever it tells you and deems is what you should have. You know, now I'm looking at, I want a bikini model, I want a Victoria's Secret model, and these regular, you know, and it's all craziness, man. After I busted that first nut, bro, it was on and popping ever since, man.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I used to watch MTV, and I was just like, oh yeah, I want that life right there. But okay, so you had sex first time, whatever. But what about the validation? What about the validation when you were chasing that dream of the MBA and stuff like that? Like, what were the teachers? What were the people around you saying? Were they trying to get you to look for their validation?
I mean, I don't know if growing up, you know, when ever since I was young, bro, I just I always had to be tough, man, and I tried to always prove being tough because, like, going to high school, I was like, I was a small guy, like 5'9", maybe a $140, you know, a $145. I played ball with all black dudes, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, and so I just had to be tough, bro. Like, I grew up with, I used to get jumped every day. I had to fight and stuff like that, and it's just, you really want your peers to really like you, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of human. That's just part of the human condition. So when you going through that kind of stuff and the people that's supposed to love you are treating you the wrong way, it how could I say this? It pollutes your mind. It perverts your mind about what look, that I'm supposed to. If the people that's supposed to be looking out for me and care about me is doing this to me, then I just got to become a monster, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you get a disproportionate reality about what life is really about. And then you just, you know, you go from there. So I think everybody is really just created by what they go through in life, man. And so when I figured out, you know, when it became not important to get validation from my dad or my friends and all that, then as I got older is when it went to the women. You feel what I'm saying? Because as you get older as a man, you got society telling you should be married, you should have kids. At this certain point, you should have a house, you should have a picket fence, you should have a dog, and you start telling yourself why I don't have this. You understand? And you get to a point to where you start searching out for what you think that you should have, and really realize that you're searching for something that's not even real, man. You know, in their whole life, because I know some men get married 3, 4, 5 times before they pass away, bro. You know, so.
Well, when did you make the switch over to? What year did you make the switch over to female validation?
It's weird, bro, because I would say after I got my life together, bro, probably at about 30, man, because none of that mattered to me, bro. Before 30, like 30, bro, yeah, because I was so wrapped up in street shit and going to prison and jail and all that kind of stuff that came with all that. I didn't really have time to, you know, I mean, I would do this, do that, go from there. When you live in that kind of life, you really don't have time to focus on that when you're always in the trenches. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I had girlfriends and stuff like that or whatever, but that wasn't the priority of my life. The priority of my life was surviving from day to day, you know, not getting killed, not getting caught by the cop, all that kind of stuff that come with that. So even though females was in my life, they wasn't the top tier of my worries. You understand what I'm saying? Because my life was so chaotic. It wasn't until I made a decision to change my life when that became important to me. And then I was trying to play catch up. You understand what I'm saying? I'm 30 years old now. I don't have none of these things that I see all my partners have with the offshore jobs, the houses, the car, the woman, the kids, this. So now I'm playing catch up. And it's like, okay, well, now I gotta find the woman of my dream. Let me just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get the dream. I gotta apply the dream. And that's when I started at about 30, bro. You know?
Okay, all right. Well, let me ask you, what was it about female? Let me see. I'm getting feedback. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Let me see. Let me move my mic around or something. What was it about female validation that was so addicting?
Because it made me feel like I always wanted to feel, bro. Like I felt complete. Like, you know what I mean? I felt complete. I felt like I accomplished my goal. I succeeded the mission. You know, like I say, it's a conqueror's kind of thing with men, I believe in. We may see a woman who we believe is, because we've been conditioned by society to think women are out of our league, or they're better than us, or we could never get her, or she's top class and all that. So we already go into it with a negative mind state, thinking we below somebody. So if you go into it thinking you below somebody and then you achieve that goal, you're gonna feel like, well, you the man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna be validated, like you did something you didn't think you could do. So once I got a taste of that, that became the goal in life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, nothing else really mattered no more. And I mean, I don't get me wrong, I never let it take me off of my path or whatever. Like, that became more, like I said, it wasn't very important before. Well, when I got a taste of being a quote unquote relationship, situationship, bullshit, whatever the fuck you want to call it, with someone who I deemed to be above me, I was like, okay, I like how this feels. Because what it did was, all the issues that were there before I met this person, or whatever you want to say, and got into a situation like that, I never did nothing to truly work on those issues that I had before I came into that. And what that person did was, they created a shortcut for me to feel the way I wanted to feel without me having to do no work, if that makes sense to you.
That makes perfect sense. Well, how long did these feelings last?
Oh, bro, I mean, when I met this chick, bro, that sent me to the pill, bro, I mean, I would see this chick, bro, and it'd be a while before I wouldn't see her for a while. She'd come back around, bro, and have sex with her, bro, and I'd be high for like 5 or 6 days off of that, bro. Walking around like floating off of that shit, bro. You know, it's crazy, bro. You know,
5 or 6 days. So
5 or 6 days. Bro.
5 or 6 days, like you felt like, man, where's that feedback? You hear that feedback?
I don't hear it.
Okay, well, maybe, all right, makes it. So 5 or 6 days, you felt great, right?
Yep.
You crashed back down, because you know how that's how the addiction works, right? You crash. When you crash back down to the ground or whatever, how did you feel after that?
Horrible. Suicidal.
Okay. Okay.
Suicidal. Because what I was looking for was, I was looking for that feeling to constantly be there from someone that was incapable of consistently being there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, let me just put it to you like this, bro. And this may sound misogynistic or whatever, but I don't give a fuck. Throughout my life, since I'm a person who has had trouble with drugs, I compare women to drugs. That's what they really are. Anything outside yourself that you use to make yourself feel better, to change the way you feel, is a drug. Okay? So if I had to do a comparison chart of women in my life, the person that I had dealings with who sent me into the direction of the pill was like shooting heroin. Like, you can't get any higher than shooting heroin, from what I understand. You know what I mean? Like, that's the upper echelon. So a person that does drugs wants to feel like they shooting heroin, but sometimes you can't get your hands on heroin. You know what I mean? Especially because heroin is probably harder to get. It's in bad place. You know, it's not always available. So if you can't get no heroin, you might want to take a lower tab. So they got girls out there that'll make you feel like you took a lower tab, and a lower tab ain't bad if you can't get heroin. Like, it'll hold you over till then. Then you got girls out there that might make you feel like a Xanax. You know, Xanax ain't bad if you can't get heroin or lower tabs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then they got girls out there that'll make you feel like you smoked a joint. Now, smoking a joint ain't the worst thing in the world, and it's not that bad if you don't have nothing else. But see, what I found out about addiction is, anytime I use something that is not my drug of choice, after I use it, all it makes me do is think about my drug of choice that much more. You get what I'm saying? So now I done smoked this joint and wasn't tripping that hard about not having no heroin. Now I'm really, really, really thinking about heroin. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how I compare women, bro. Like, some women make you really don't feel anything. Some women you deal with.
Oh, okay. You cut out a little bit there, but I understand. So it's basically like digging the hole deeper then.
Yeah, bro. That's addiction, man. That's addiction.
Man.
And then go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. All right, let's dig into this, right? So now, I mean, you got the girls, you swapped over to female validation. You got this one cool little chick here who's like the best. She's like heroin, basically. And then you got all these other little chicks that can't compare, but you can't get the fix off of them necessarily. So then you rebound into this other heroin chick, basically, and your life just keeps spinning out of control.
It becomes unmanageable. And I look at it like this stuff didn't cause the physical consequences that the drugs did, as far as, I can't keep no money in my pocket. I can't pay my car note. I can't, I'm not going to jail. I'm not doing nothing, but it still caused the emotional and the mental unmanageability, just like the drugs did. That's all I could think of. Like, I still made myself go to work. I still made myself do anything, but like there were days where I'd be so down because I couldn't get what I wanted that I wouldn't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? And like I say, bro, it's just a spiral, bro. Because you want to feel good all the time. You know what I mean? And if somebody's making you feel good, but this is the biggest thing about addiction that people need to understand. Anything that makes you feel that good on the back end is gonna make you feel that bad, bro.
Yeah.
You can't get that high with a person, and then you got to think about it. Anybody that makes you feel that good sexually, bro, they've been with so many people, bro. They non-committable, bro. Like, they're never gonna just be with one dude or whatever when they do that kind of stuff with you to make you feel like that, man.
Yeah, they know the techniques, basically. They're really, really experienced, and they don't know how to, kind of like how those
predatory female book, man. That's what they do. Sex, man. They bait you in with that shit, man.
Dudes that seduce a lot of women are like that too, man. Like, they'll seduce a lot. They'll know all these tricks and all this stuff, but they can never like get close to a chick. And girl, of course, you know how women are. So, okay, so let's compare this to like red pill understanding and sex addiction. Like, once you came across the red pill, did that actually help you with that addiction?
Well, what it did was it helped me see the reality of the situation that I was in, because this person that I'm talking about who made me feel that way, I decided to, because I didn't know what I know now, I decided the best course of action for me was to get in what I thought was a committed relationship with this person who was obviously not capable of doing that, because when I met this person, they were engaged to someone else. So, I mean, that's not really a good sign of somebody being able to commit to somebody. I thought it was a good idea to move in, to a woman's home, which is nothing I would ever suggest anyone in here do. But when you don't know no better, you can't do no better. So how I got myself in that situation and what brought me here was I was throughout the course of the courtship, or whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna say play in the backfield, because if you ain't really courting no woman, she's dealing with a bunch of people, and you either on the field or you on the bench. I was on the bench. So while I was on the bench, I was doing all this, watching videos of how to conduct myself when this person gets in touch with me again, and with right things to say and the right things to do and what not to do and all this. And I stumbled across this dude, Corey Wayne stuff. And I just want to tell you, like, if you want to attract the woman of your nightmares and make her your girlfriend, you should watch his videos, because he will help you attract a psychopath that'll ruin your life. Not saying it don't work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying his tactics don't work, but it's not going to work to attract the right kind of person in your life. So by doing what this dude told me to do and listening to all, which is so sad when I look at it, because who in the fuck should put that much effort into fucking with somebody? It makes no sense to me. If you got to put in that much work and thought into dealing with anyone else, you should never do that shit. It makes no sense. But I didn't know anything. So I get with this person. I move in with this person. And, in the beginning, man, it's wonderful when you get with these chicks, bro, because you're moving in. This is your home. This is your place. This is yours. We having sex 20, 30 times a week. I'm getting topped off every 3 or 4 days, but then things started to go left, and, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God or whatever, bro. One day I went back on YouTube to look at a video about relationship stuff and what I was doing wrong and everything like that. And I stumbled upon a MGTOW video accidentally, and it explained to me exactly what was going on in my life, exactly what I was dealing with, and exactly what was going to happen to me if I continued to go in that direction. And ever since then, I'm not the same person that I was back then anymore. You know.
See, that's good to hear. Now let's double back a little bit. So it seems like dating coaches actually, well, from my point of view, actually help men become more addicted when they
Yeah,
should.
bro.
What
Well,
do you
like
think about
you know, yeah, and look, even when I look back at it, the things that I heard, I didn't think anything of it at the time, but like I heard what is a reality, but it's a sick reality, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, if she's attractive, she's probably talking to 15 to 20 guys, and probably 3 or 4 of them, and you just gotta stand out and be different than them, and you gotta not. And I'm like, bro, who? Like, I'm thinking, man, what man with integrity and dignity would even do that shit, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? Like, I didn't have no dignity at the time, bro. I didn't have no integrity, bro. I just was like fiending for that dope, bro. And like I want to do anything I could to protect my high and be able to get high forever, bro. And that's what they'll help you do. You know what I mean? They'll help you invite things in your life that ain't good for you that'll kill you, man. Eventually, if you don't get out. You know? That's just my opinion, man.
Yeah, exactly. So the MGTOW video that helped you kind of change course, that was the Big John video, right?
Yeah. Actually, the first 2 guys that I ever saw on there were Howard Dare and John and Big John. That was a while back, bro. And he just told me, like, I didn't understand what feminism was. I didn't understand what a feminist was. I thought that was some crazy shit in the courts. I mean, I heard of it. I'm not dumb. I know, but I thought that was like bald head chicks and chicks with, dyke women with fucking boosie fades and shit like that and everything. But I came to understand that 99.9% of the women that are out here are feminists, bro, and they believe in controlling a man, and they believe in they're gonna get you in the end, bro. It's their world out here. And I didn't get that, but I get that now, because I never understood why I was trying to get pushed to get married and all this kind of stuff, but I see why now,
So, so when you looked at Big John's video, you're like, okay, yeah, this started to make a lot of sense. But then I remember we talked about this. You started watching a guy named MGTOW Mogul.
Yeah, bro. Like, and I want to shout out a few people too, bro. Like, I want to shout out.
Go ahead.
I want to shout out Experience Optimist first, bro, for having me on here. I really appreciate you giving me a platform to tell my story and talk about issues that people like us face. I want to shout my boy out, Trent No Spoons Coach. His videos have been instrumental in my life and have been life-changing. And that's also produced a great friend out of it too. My boy MGTOW Savior, he's one of the guys on here that has a lot of passion, man, and really, really, really cares about other guys. MGTOW Mogul, I never met him before, but his videos are amazing. I mean, he got the top 5 videos probably that I've ever heard in my life that still resonate with me to this day. Old school Tony Carter, Discover Yourself. And anybody else out here making content, but trying to help guys, man. I mean, the Godfathers, Big John, Howard Dare, Barbarossa, all those guys, Sandman, everybody, bro. LFA, New Dudes, whatever. People out here just trying to open men's eyes up to the realities of the world that we deal with, bro. So anybody out there, man, I encourage you, man, to share this with your brothers. And help them out and help them to wake up out that dream that they're living in, man. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, what was so important about MGTOW Mogul's videos?
Well, I mean, I got sent a video. It was about relationships versus being single, by MGTOW Savior, and it really, really resonated with me and stuff like that. And I mean, his videos, the premise of his videos, if you ask me, is like men learning how to live without female validation, bro. That's the basis of his videos. Because the one that I like the best out of all of them is the problem we all face. And it's like, even though you have all this information and knowledge, you listen to thousands of videos, from all the creators from the beginning and all that, and you get it and you understand, but you can't turn that corner. And I think that's what most of us still struggle with, is like, we know all this shit, but we still want to be in the field to test this shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe I got enough information now. I got enough knowledge to where I could spot the bad ones, and I could out the trash, and I could find what I'm looking for and all that. But in reality, bro, in the arena that we live in, what you're looking for don't exist, man. And that's what he was trying to push across. Women don't love you like that. They never will love you like that. They love you like that. They're not built like that. And you got to accept it as a truth. in your life for you to really move past this shit, man. You know?
So what happened when you didn't accept it? What happened when you didn't take MGTOW Mogul's advice? I believe it's in the first video.
Yeah.
And you went back to the girl. What happened?
Well, look, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit from that. I heard Big John's video, and it sparked something in my spirit instantly, and I seen what was going on. So like after I heard that, like by that weekend, I had already moved out. Look, I'm not dealing with you no more. You don't love me. I don't love you, whatever. I know you who you doing. Boom. I pack all my stuff. She has a nervous breakdown. I leave. It's all an act anyway. It's not real. But I'm just saying she put on a good act. Like she cried without even having tears coming out of her eyes. Like they try to do shit like that, bro. So I did that, but I hadn't digested the red pill yet, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be fucking chicks, living with chicks. You can't be living with a chick, having sex with her all the time, and you expect that you're gonna digest this shit, bro. So having red pill in my mouth and going back home, I felt that loneliness and that disconnection from her, and I went right back again. Well, you know, I moved back in a couple days later. Bam, shit starts going left, even quicker this time. 2 months later, I move out again. I moved back, but I had made my mind up, so I was gone for like 6 months. And I had enough time to digest all of this shit, bro, and really sit back and take a look at myself, or look at life, and look at this shit from like a logical standpoint. But then again, the sex addiction being so strong, and that feeling of wanting comfort, and to be back into that womb again, because that predatory female book says a man is born from the womb and he tries to spend the rest of his life getting back there, bro. That's how powerful that shit is to people like us, man. So I went back, and knowing what I know now, bro, I mean, I didn't last 10 days, man. I didn't last 10 days. You know, he said you could go back. He's like, you might be a year, 2 years, 6 months, a month from now, and you'll be back. And that's what I was. 10 days later, I was back off of that blue pill hiatus that I took, man.
Well, that video you told me, because I watched the video after you told me, right?
Yeah.
You know, break down those videos and why it's so important for men to go over to that channel and listen and internalize those videos.
That dude's amazing, bro. The way his delivery is, bro. His passion, his delivery, and his facts in it, bro, just amazing. I mean, he has one about how 60 to 90% of women cheat, with facts, why they cheat, why they do what they do. He has, and not only that, he has facts, he has passion, his delivery is good, and he shares his personal experience. And one of the greatest things that he said that I could relate to a lot is like, look, I've had my feelings hurt when dealing with women, but I haven't had to have the vicious consequences like many men have. I've never been married. I don't have kids. I'm not on child support. I don't have to pay alimony. I've never been divorced. And I am the way that I am, not because women have done me wrong, but I was the one that they were doing wrong with.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And that resonated with me the most, because I remember a guy commented on one of my videos. He said, I want enough people's wives to understand that I don't want one.
Yes. That's pretty deep, man, because when it comes to sexual addiction, man, and you hear guys like MGTOW Mogul say that, you hear guys like yourself say that, Big John say that, man, it really helps you kind of get a grip on that sexual addiction. So is that what happened? It kind of helped you start to control those urges?
I mean, with her, I mean, look, I still do my thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, I'm the safest person in the world. I do stuff that I regret still, but I'm not out here wigging out and wilding out like I used to be. And I understand like the addiction part of it with her is I was addicted to her, you know, because I was willing to put every value, principle, belief, and all that aside. And what I'm saying when I mean sex addiction is the basis of that relationship was sex. That's all I enjoyed from the relationship. So I was willing to put my life on the line, my neck on the line, my dignity, my respect, my all that, to continue sex with someone who I know in my spirit, even though I didn't catch them red-handed, was having sex with other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not doing that no more, bro. I done did it all, bro. I seen it all, did it all, had it all. And I understand in the end, it ain't shit, man. That shit don't mean nothing, bro. It's just an urge, dude. It don't mean, it's not real, bro, at all. It's not fucking real, man.
Absolutely. Well, what do you say to all those young guys out there who don't really understand how these urges are controlling their life, don't really understand their addiction, what would you say to these guys to help them out?
Man, survive, man. Survive until you get old enough to see reality for what it is. Because the honest part of it, bro, is the only way people stop doing stuff, bro, is if they had enough pain to I heard an old proverb that said, until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change, nothing changes, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Human beings ain't conditioned, brother, just, you know what I'm saying, do something once, like touch a hot stove or whatever, and oh, I burnt my fingertip. Like, man, human beings are conditioned to do stuff until they burn their whole arm off and they only got one arm left. And then they like, oh shit, you know, I better keep this arm if I want to continue to grab cups and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So, I mean, with young guys out there, bro, the only thing that I would say is they're gonna mess with women. You're gonna deal with women if you got any kind of sense. Man, use condoms, bro. Don't get married, bro. Don't have babies with these chicks. Don't just be busting in these chicks. Don't, you know, like, protect yourself, man, because they don't care about you, bro, at all. They do not care about you one bit, man. They don't care. You know, they're not just seeing you. They're not just dealing with you. Don't ever be under the auspice that woman out there that you're dealing with who is mildly attractive to attractive, that you're the only one in the game, bro. You might be the main one, but you ain't never gonna be the only one, bro. And that's facts.
Man, but how do you, a young guy who says, you know what, I really don't believe, you know, I think that love exists. I'm really gonna keep going after it. What do you tell those guys that just like steadfast?
Love, bro. All right. I definitely love is this, man. It's how someone treats you after the feeling has passed. And what I mean by that is you get with somebody, your natural thing is, as a human being, your brain is going to be firing off dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all this kind of shit. And you're going to be in the bliss, bro. You're going to be floating for a while. She will too, because she's still a human being, even though she's different. But what I'm saying is look at the difference of how you love and how they love. You will still be with your woman and deal with your woman the same way, even though those feelings done pass in your head. But I want to watch and see how she starts reacting once the thrill is gone, bro. And you'll see right then and there that the love that you believe exists don't exist, man.
Yes, I mean, once you see a girl really treat you the way she basically treats you like she doesn't even like you or whatever, and you still have those feelings of addiction, right? You see, you still want that validation. Man, how did you deal with that in the past? How do you deal with it now?
Man, look at this, bro. Just the reality of it, bro. Their love is not the same as yours, bro. It's not. Because this is the whole thing. I know women, bro, that done dealt with several different men, a bunch of different men, bro. And every time they're in a relationship with a dude, they say that dude is the love of their life. You're the love of my life. I can't believe I've waited this long to find you. I love you so much. You're the love of my life. I want to be with you forever. And then dip on you and be engaged to be married a month later to somebody else, bro. Ain't no men out here doing that, bro. If you really with a chick and you clack with her and y'all living together and y'all loving each other and you with her and all that, bro, and she breaks up with you or leaves you, bro, dudes be on the couch for a year at a time, bro, before they even thinking about trying to go back in the field and do shit like that. While that weekend, the girl that they was with is already in the club with her girlfriends going trying to find somebody new. Fact. Facts.
Yep. So now that you, how old you say you were?
37, man.
Okay, so in the next 5 years, right? How do you see yourself when confronting these urges, man, the sexual addiction and stuff like that?
Man, a lot of self-satisfaction, bro. You know, I'm not trying to really go to the prostitute way or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know, bro. Like, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have women who give me sex for nothing. You know, they might not always be 10s, but fuck, they might be 6s. Suck my dick, or, you know what I'm saying, let me fuck or whatever. You know, every now and then the sun shines on my ass and a decent 8 or something like that might come through. And I'm not going to be on here like a lot of these dudes and try to lie and say I'm doing all this and I'm doing all that. Like, if you're an average Joe-ass dude, bro, you ain't pulling 10s and 9s all the time. That's not reality. I don't give
That's true.
I don't give a fuck how you look. You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm saying average, I believe I'm an average guy. I think I'm average looking. I got average money. I got an average. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, every now and then I get lucky and the sun will shine on the dog's ass and I pull something real nice or whatever. But one thing I respect about myself is I never had to pay. Like I know that all the chicks I have sex with want to have sex with me because they want to have sex with me. You know, but getting to a point to where it's unfulfilling now, man. And that's really it's unfulfilling now, man. Just don't feel it 5 years, I think my testosterone will be lower. You know, still things are gonna start changing in my body and in my mind. But what I realized from it though, even though I don't have to spend money or whatever, and I could just, but it's still not worth the bullshit that comes with it. But they get attached when you really don't like them. They get attached. Then they start asking you crazy questions like, why you not calling me? Do you want me to leave you alone? What's wrong? Da-da-da-da-da. It's like it's not worth it. Then if you really get it with one you really like, then you gotta be on the other end of that. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be sitting here waiting. It's just not worth it, bro. It's not worth it, man. It ain't worth it with it, bro. The juice ain't worth the squeeze, bro.
Yeah, you know.
Not,
Well,
man.
let me switch gears real quick because
Go
you
ahead.
brought up something in your last podcast that you're doing online, and I think you said you were going to make a video about this, but I wanted to bring it up tonight. Consultants like these new
Oh,
MGTOW consultants
God.
that charge men,
Oh
you know
my
what I mean? Like they want you to pay for
oh my God.
calls and stuff like that. Especially if you're a guy. All right, we're talking about sexual addiction, right? You're a guy. You're dealing with sexual addiction. You really need some help.
Yeah,
Why? You know, do you think it's fair that a guy's charging someone like $50 an hour or whatever it is to so that he can talk to you about that topic?
I mean, I look at it like this, bro. Anybody getting money, man, or whatever from this, bro, ask. Well, I mean, to each his own, bro. But if you really, I do this to try to help people, man. I try to use my experience and what I've been through and the knowledge that I've garnered and gained from people like you and people that make content that I feel like is valid and helpful to me. I don't I'm not doing this to try to make any money, man. You know, because you got to think about it like this, bro. Money always corrupts everything, man. It
Mm.
corrupts everything, bro. If you want to look at the church house, if you look at sports gambling, all, but it just corrupts everything. So if you're doing it for that, you're not really coming from your heart, man. You're doing it for another reason, you know. So guys that, you know, I don't see dudes beg for money on their channel. If y'all don't put up this much donations, then I'm not going to talk about this. Or dudes doing personal phone sessions. And I just want to tell guys out there, don't be no sucker, bro. If man, as a man, bro, you ought to have bros in your life that you could talk to about anything for free, bro. You shouldn't have to call some stranger that you don't even know and give this man money to try to tell you how to live your life. You're not really a man going your own way. If you need advice and you got to pay somebody to tell you how to live your life, you really need to look in the mirror and take a long look at yourself and figure out what's going on with you. Because look, I got friends I consult with. I got friends I talk to, but I don't ask none of them dudes how to live my life, and they don't ask me for a penny for talking to them. You know, I don't believe in MGTOW coaches. You know, I don't believe in MGTOW counselors. I don't believe in MGTOW pastors or none of that fake ass shit. Because guess what? Everybody here is searching for the answer just like we searching for the answer. Don't nobody got this shit figured out. Ain't nobody got this shit on lock. Ain't nobody guru. The only way that you get to being in the red pill or the MGTOW community is that you was a sucker who endured so much trauma and got hurt so bad that you had to look on YouTube to figure out an answer to your problems. And that's everybody. That's everybody. Straight up. I ain't paying nobody, and I never asked nobody for $1 either.
Yeah, I hear you there. I hear you there. Well, I want to ask you about this. After what you just said, a lot of people always say, okay, well, MGTOW men, they don't have any solutions. All they're doing is complaining, right? He's complaining about women. There's no solutions. They don't know what to do. So let me ask you, if you're looking at men and you want to see men become like their best selves, what would that look like?
Always put yourself first.
Okay.
Always. in a situation, because that's the way things are built. Anytime you don't put yourself first, and I don't mean that in a selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed type of way. I mean, always put yourself first where you do the best thing for you. And everybody knows what that is. Everybody innately knows inside of themselves what the best thing is to do for you. If you feel like dealing with a bunch of women and messing with a bunch of women and getting married and doing that is the best thing that you could do, go ahead and do that. We're not trying to tell nobody what to do. I'm telling you what I did, what I went through, and what works for me. And if that can help somebody, but we're not really complaining on here, bro. I don't complain, bro. I don't. Like, I mean, I talk about the reality, bro, what I see. And the solution is don't, man, look, read, man. Go read some books. Read The Predatory Female. Read The Manipulated Man. Read, different books that they got out there written by men and women about the climate and the condition of the place that we live in today. And for the most part, the kind of women they got out here running out here, bro. We trying to save people, dog. We ain't trying to like hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Well said, man. Well said. So that's pretty much all the questions I have, bro. I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything. We covered the sexual addiction, right? How it starts, society, and validation. I will say one thing, man, because you're talking about validation, right? For me, I found out when I was older, like 40 years old, that my whole life was about chasing validation, man.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it was chasing validation, man. I went through depression and stuff when I figured out that that's all it was. And I mean, it's really hard. I think guys out there should really strive to not be addicted to validation. As a matter of fact, let me ask you this one last thing. When you discovered that you essentially were addicted to validation, you went through a little bit of depression as well, right? Like, how long did that last, and how did you pick yourself up after that?
Well, it's like, man, it's a daily struggle still, bro. And it's not really the addiction of validation no more. It's still dealing with the fact that I'm always gonna have that element to myself, because as a human being, you want people to like you, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Unless you're a psychopath or a sociopath or a Unabomber or something where you just locked up you generally want people to like you, bro. And it's just learning how to have a balance with balance is the whole key to all of this, bro. Not being too rigid about nothing, but not living your life to please other people, man. You know what I mean? That's what validation is, bro. You try to live your life to people please, to try to get their approval, And once I started realizing that nobody really cares about nothing but themselves for the most part, and nobody's really watching you, and the people that really want to be in your life are going to be in your life and not try to change you. And the people that really don't want to be in your life aren't going to be in your life. And if they are, they're going to try to change you. That's when I started being okay with like, okay, but being myself is going to work the best for me. And it's going to work the best for anybody else, because all you can really be is yourself. See, this is what I learned. And I'm going to say this too. This is what I learned about relationships in 2019 with these kind of chicks that are out here today. You never go in a relationship being able to be yourself, man. They tell you before you, this has been my experience so far. Before you cross the threshold of saying, you're my girlfriend, we're together, you're my fiance, we're living together, all this kind of stuff, before you cross them bounds, they feed you this line of, I love you, you're so awesome, I'm grateful, they love everything about you, they heap you with praise, they do all of this, but then you get into a situation where you live with them and you're with them, and now you can't do anything right, and they're trying to change all this about you and get you to curtail all of this. So really and truly, you're seeking validation from someone who can never give it to you, because they don't really care about you as a person anyway. They just care about like turning you into a robot and making you submit to their control. So when you realize that, it's like, I'm going to be me, I'm going to do me, I'm going to be the best me I can, and whoever don't like it, they can step, and whoever wants to be in my life, they can be there. Period. Point blank.
Well said. Well, I'll tell you what. the man with one eye, man. You got a lot of good videos.
Thank you, man.
You know, I'm going to put a link in the description or whatever. But before we go, I want you to tell guys which videos should they go and check out on your channel.
I mean, on my channel, they got I think the greatest one would be "Do Not Ingest Red Pills." You know what I'm saying? If you still want to see reality for what it is, because once you start, like, you really need to understand what you're getting yourself into in this rabbit hole, bro. If you really gonna start watching this kind of stuff and start doing this, it's gonna change your life, and you might not like the changes that it brings. So I would like to say that that's my warning video. You know what I'm saying? It says, warning, do not ingest red pills unless you want to see reality for what it is. So what I'm telling people is, if you're not sure that you're ready to deal with the reality of the life that we live today in our society, with the dealing with interpersonal relationships with the opposite sex and what's really going on out here, this might not be for you if you want to continue to believe in romantic love and Disney fairy tales and the perfect life and the perfect wife. And this thing, you need to go watch that video, and then you can make a decision from there if you want to continue down this path. Because I'm gonna tell you like this: people like me, people like the Optimist, people like several of my other friends, we taking a path that nobody don't take and that they fear, because it's gonna come with a lot of shit. You're gonna have a lot of nights when you by yourself. You're gonna have a lot of nights when you question your decision. You're gonna have a lot of nights where you're gonna ask yourself if you're crazy. You're gonna have a lot of nights where your brain's gonna try to trick you and tell you, man, this might not be real and all this. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like this: once you see, you can't ever be blind again. You know what I mean? And that's how it is when you start doing this. You cannot ever go back to believing what you believed in was real. So it's definitely not something that everybody wants to do. You know what I mean? Because it's easier just to be out there and be retarded, man. It really is. You know, it's easier to be asleep than it is to be awoke. Because being awoke, now you're responsible for yourself, and now you know the reality of what you're dealing with, and you can't never go back to thinking it's something other than what it is. So that's the video I would tell people to go watch. And I mean, as far as your channel goes, I mean, you have a lot of in-depth videos on books and all that kind of stuff. I would suggest everybody out there, if you haven't, go and listen to the audio book of The Predatory Female, and that will teach you what kind of women that you're dealing with. Me and this man, we done already read the book, watched it, critiqued it and stuff like that. So just just protect yourself, man. If you're gonna have sex, I mean, you wear condoms, bro. These bitches out here, ain't no telling what kind of diseases they running around with, man. You know, just protect yourself, man. Protect yourself. And the last thing I'm gonna say is get some guys in your life, man, that you really that got your back, man. You know, because your bros are gonna be there for you way after. Look, I got a story. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up for real. I got a friend who I was around who's divorced now, whose wife took his kids from him. He's like 60 years old. He lives in my partner's attic. Basically, he has absolutely nothing. She railroaded him. He tried to get custody of his kids. He spent all his money doing all that. Well, now he's scuffling from job, whatever. But his wife asked him a long time ago, why are you always on the phone with your friends? Why are you always talking to those guys? Why are you always, you know, with them and around them and talking to them? And he told her one of the most profound things I ever told any human being, tell another human being. He said, because they'll still be here after you're long gone. And we're all still here and she's long gone. So that's all I got, man.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, we can end on that, man. That's perfect.
Appreciate it,
bro. A great way to end it, as a matter of fact. So all right, so cool. So like I said, I'm gonna put your link in the description box.
And what
really appreciate it. Go ahead.
What I would like us to do is I would try to get us to conglomerate, man, because I think everybody got Google Hangouts now. I'm gonna try to find out how many of us could get on here, as far as me, you, Savior, Trent, couple other people, bro, that we kind of listen to and stuff like that, and click up with, and we could just have a red pill forum discussion about a topic, bro.
You know what I'd like to see, man? I would like to see us do something like that, and then like have it to where we give advice free of charge, of course, just helping men, like all about not complaining. I mean, you know, not complaining about female next necessarily, but like, look, the things you can do right now to help your life so that you can bring yourself out of depression.
Well, yeah,
on the right path, stuff like that, you know.
One of my last videos was how to get a college degree from scratch. I plan on putting another video on there, how to get a master electrical license or trade license in your time to start your own business. Like, that's the stuff that's important.
Exactly.
We could talk about women all day, but it ain't gonna help you get no money. It ain't gonna help you get your life better. It'll help protect you from losing everything you got, but it's not gonna proactively make your life better. So what I would like to see, as far as with guys like us and stuff like that, is to start proactively talking about things on how guys can get their life better from a psychological standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a financial standpoint, a mental standpoint, physical standpoint, so we can help each other and also same people at the same time become the best versions of themselves they could be and be happy with themselves. Because I think the searching of sex addiction, female validation, all that kind of stuff comes from you not feeling good about yourself and trying to use something outside of yourself to make you feel good because you don't feel that way about yourself, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we go, I'm going to Super Trez sent me, make sure you send him my info. So I'm going to send you Super Trez's info so you can link up with him. And he's a real cool dude. You already know about him. But yeah, man, let's do it. So next time, let's try to set that up, man.
Yeah, we'll link up. I'll talk to a few of my people and I'll call you and stuff like that. And we'll figure out a time and a place that works for everybody. And we'll come up with something. And we'll have like a call-in show or something where people call us and ask who they want about what. It's going to be good, bro. I'm going to set it up and make it happen.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well,
good talking to you, man. Much love. Talk to you soon.
Cool. Take care.
Later, bro.